Today, I'm excited to cover the power of your subconscious mind and how to harness that power to create true lasting change in your mind. And we're going to start off, and this video is for you, by the way. We're going to start off by asking you a question. Do you agree and do you believe that 95% of who you are and your thoughts and your feelings and your actions and your habits are controlled by your subconscious mind and not your conscious mind? If you believe that, then this video is for you. Hi, my name is Jake Kavanaugh of the Vibe Mindset. We're going to convince you that the focus you need to have is on programming your subconscious mind. Now, a lot of you are probably familiar with this, but let's cover and go take a deeper dive into what the subconscious mind is, what it can do for you, and we're really going to give you some constructive ideas on where you can create change. Now, there's 4 things that lie within your subconscious mind. Let's talk about number 1, emotion. Emotion is one of the most powerful drivers of behavior. And a lot of times we don't realize, but emotions, think about it. You feel emotions throughout your body. Emotions are energy in motion. They drive behavior. Now, your subconscious mind is where those emotions lie. So when we think about change, what happens oftentimes is the feeling or emotion of uncertainty and uncomfortability, which basically is stress and anxiety, is an emotion that paralyzes many of us. But when you can get to the point where you can embrace uncertainty, embrace the unknown, embrace the fact that change is uncomfortable because it's so unfamiliar to us. When you can get to that point and start really training your brain to accept uncertainty, uncomfortability, and the unknown, you are setting yourself up for a tremendous change, success, and growth that you have never imagined before. Now, your subconscious mind is also where your habits lie. Now, habits are what control our everyday emotions, our actions, our feelings, because we need to be on an autopilot, right? We have so many stimuli coming into our minds, the things that we see, the thoughts. There's so much going on, right? We need to have the ability to put ourselves on autopilot, right? And not only that, but if you were to consciously think about all these little things you do each and every day, there's no way you would have the processing power to get anything done. So the subconscious mind and habits allow us the freedom to free our mind and put ourselves on that autopilot. Now, why is this important? Well, our habits are based on our past experiences, and those past experiences tied in with an emotion are kind of what drives us and also holds us back, right? So all too often, our habits are hard to break, right? Whether it's a habit of beating yourself up, a habit of not thinking that you're worthy, a habit of not making the decisions that serve you, but sometimes maybe even saying yes too often. There's tons of habits that we all have. However, many of us don't realize that those habits lie within our subconscious mind. And so today we're going to cover how to access and change those habits the right way where it's effective and it stays with you. It's so easy. I mean, think about it. In January, right? Everyone's all about like health on January 1st. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to the gym, and the gym is packed from January to February, and then March, people start to fall off, and it's like 3 months, everyone's done. Why? Is because they never got into the power of their subconscious mind. So we're going to talk about how to do that in a moment. Now, here's the third thing that's important. Your beliefs, your values, okay? The things that guide your behavior, the things that you always are trying to find alignment with also lie within your subconscious mind. So let's say you're the type of person where you say, I am a kind person, and you value kindness very much. So what will happen is, in your subconscious mind, whenever there is an opportunity to be kind, if there's a woman that you're walking by who's 90 years old and she's trying to open a door, your subconscious will guide you and say, well, go open the door. It'll direct you to that door. And you'll actually open it for her because you want to be in alignment with the values you have and the beliefs that you have. And this is all within your subconscious mind, your values, your traits, your personality, basically. So what does that mean for us? Well, if we want to change your values and we want to create alignment with the desires that you have, we've got to start looking into your values, your identity, and your personality, because these are the traits that kind of steer you almost like a servo mechanism. They steer you in the direction that they want to go to create alignment and to validate that they still exist. It's almost like if I'm a strong man, well, I have this desire to always prove, well, I'm strong. It's like we have this autopilot innate desire to always validate our values, create alignment, and validate this identity that we formed. And that's all in the subconscious mind. Now, why is that important? And what can we actually do about that, right? What can we do about that to change and to grow? Well, one way we can take this and use it to our advantage is you've got to adopt an identity, a trait that will better align with what you're looking for. So for example, if you say to yourself, you know what? This is always a question that you always want to watch out for what your answer is to this. You say, I'm the type of person that, whenever I say I'm the type of person, or if I hear someone else say, I'm the type of person, I always pay very close attention to what's said next, because it's very revealing as to what their thoughts, feelings, and actions are when the next words come out. So let's say, for example, you say, you know, I've always been the type of person where it seems like when I get close to a goal, I just kind of overthink it, get paralyzed, and I just kind of almost like self-sabotage myself. Okay, that's a very common thing that many of us, maybe even you, have struggled with before. I know it's something that I've struggled with in the past, but this trait lies within your subconscious mind. So how are you going to access it? How are you going to refine it? How are you going to change it? So one of the ways you can do that is by adopting a trait that aligns with the goals and the desires and the feelings that you're looking to experience. So for example, if you say, hey, look, I want to be a closer, I want to be a finisher, the opposite of what I just mentioned. Well, then what you need to do is say, okay, well, what's the trait that I need? Okay, I want to have the trait of persistence and never giving up. Like, let's say that's what you're going for. Okay, you have to think about that trait on a daily basis and say, how can I take a small action on a regular basis to think, feel, and of course, act like I already possess and am becoming that person. I am becoming the person that never gives up. I am becoming a closer. I'm becoming someone who always is a finisher, right? I finish strong. You always want to say to yourself, okay, if this is what I'm looking for, what small action can I take today? And this is the piece that people leave out, right? People are talking about affirmations all the time. But the problem with an affirmation is if you don't follow it up with belief and action, and belief, by the way, I mean that you're becoming, think of a verb, always think of a verb. I'm becoming more disciplined. I'm becoming less of a procrastinator. I'm becoming. The belief is that you are moving in the direction that you need to go and you are worthy of getting there and that you are capable of getting to that endpoint that you're looking for. So what do? Well, day to day, you want to embody traits. Embody traits. Think about it. During Halloween, when you put on that cape and you went out and you went for that candy and you had that cape on and you were Batwoman or Batman, you embodied the characteristics of that character, of Batman, of Batwoman. You became them. You walked strong, your shoulders were back, you had this confidence, maybe even your voice changed, but you get it. You embodied the identity. You weren't really Batman and you weren't really Batwoman. However, you use your imagination and your creativity to embody the traits of that character, of that superhero. And guess what? Your brain, your subconscious mind does not know the difference between that which is real and that which is imagined. So when you embody traits and you kind of have this alter ego and kind of become this other person, or at least adopt the traits of another person temporarily, you start to rewire your brain. You rewire and recircuit and form new circuits that basically help you become a better, or even you can consider it a new version of you. Now let's talk about number 4, which is beliefs. Now beliefs are one of the most powerful things. How many times have we heard limiting beliefs? Limiting beliefs, okay? Everyone talks about limiting beliefs and I understand they're powerful and I understand they're limiting. However, there are also beliefs that you can create and that you can believe and that you can focus your energy on that can guide you and raise your vibe and lift you up. Now, what would be an example of one such belief? One powerful belief many of us have is, I believe I came to this planet for a reason, okay? If you feel that you truly are here for a reason, you are never going to be the type of person that's just going to rest on their laurels and not take action and not look for growth and not look to change the world. Because when you have a belief, you want to be in alignment with it. It's very close to the power of a value or an identity. A belief is very closely related, but it truly is like a push from behind in a good way, typically, where it's pushing you and guiding you towards fulfilling and taking actions that validate or verify that your belief is in fact true. Now, if there is a belief that you're trying to adopt and that you're trying to internalize, here's what you need to do. Think of it like a court case, right? What you want to do is identify the belief that you want. So let's say, for example, that you think the world is an unhappy place and an unsafe, unfriendly place, right? A lot of people think that. And what do you think the quality of your life is like, right? Now, let's say you wanted to flip that script. What would you do? Well, the flip to that is the world is a great, beautiful, happy place of abundance and happiness and joy. Let's say that's the new belief you want. When we think about this legal analogy, what you want to do is create supportive evidence to prove and justify this belief. So when you focus on things and you look for things, you want to look for evidence to support the world's good. You might research kindness. You might go on Instagram and look under the hashtag of kindness. You might read blog posts that are based on kindness and happiness and giving. And what happens is you start to look and you start to find things that validate this belief. Now, all of a sudden, the story starts to change. And then you start to ask yourself, wait a minute, have I always thought the world was a bad place when the whole time I just needed to shift my perspective and change my belief and shift my way of thinking? Think about it. A mindset is a way of thinking. The way many of us think limits ourselves. But if you want to create a powerful belief and a powerful mindset, think about using that vibe mindset where the B is belief. You got to believe and you got to choose belief and you got to substantiate belief by finding the evidence, taking the actions to look for the evidence. And the more you look for things, the more you find them. Now let's talk about a couple ways you can actually reprogram your subconscious mind. So number one is repetition. The subconscious mind is all about repetition. The more it feels and hears and exhibits, or you exhibit the similar feelings or actions, the more it's actually going to internalize those and make it a part of who you are. But repetition is the key. Now, another thing that you need to activate is imagination. Your imagination is the single most greatest gift you've been given, second to life here on earth. Imagination is the one thing that many of us have, of course. However, we don't activate it enough. And we certainly don't activate all five senses enough. A lot of times people talk about visualization. Well, that's only one of the five senses. The more real you can make something, the more your body and the more the universe believes it to be true, and the more clear your vision is on it. So imagination is activating all five senses, not just one, not just vision. So how do we use imagination to program the subconscious mind? Very simply. You imagine events ahead of them actually happening. Your subconscious mind doesn't have eyeballs. It doesn't have someone that sits there and says, hey, wait, did this really happen? Did this really happen? Did this person really do this? There is no such part of the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is non-judgmental and it believes everything that you impress upon it. So when you activate your imagination and you imagine an event in the future happening, your subconscious mind takes it in as it's already happening or has happened. And then what happens if you add some elated or elevated emotions to it, it really is like the 1-2 punch that makes the subconscious mind start to cause the body to change. We talk about epigenetics, we talk about quantum field, which we're not going to get into today. However, once we start talking about the subconscious mind and activating the imagination, there is a cascade of events that start to take place that truly set you up for change and almost draw that which you desire closer to you, because your body is almost in that receiving mode. It's starting to recalibrate in a way so it actually is ready to receive that which you desire. Now, I want to cover one final piece of powering that subconscious mind up and getting it ready for that which you desire, and that is the brainwave state of theta. Now, theta is interesting because when people go into that mode, if you ever watch like hypnosis, right? Everyone always has to be relaxed, and sometimes you kind of go through all the parts in your body and you kind of imagine them all starting to relax and relax and relax from your head down to your shoulders and to your toes. But what truly happens is you start to free your mind, almost like a meditative state of sorts. But when you calm your mind down and you free your mind and you become present and you approach that theta state, that very relaxed and highly suggestible state, that's when like the doors open for the subconscious mind and say, hey, we're open to hearing what you got to say. Now, if you try to program your subconscious mind when you're kind of stressed, you're worried, like you just went through a ton of traffic and now you're on your way home and wait, did I forget to grab dinner? Oh my God, I think I did. These are the times when your subconscious mind is not that open and not that open to the suggestions that you're looking to impress upon it. So you've got to calm your mind down. You've got to look into getting into theta. There's a couple different ways to do it. A lot of it revolves around relaxation. So let's talk about one way you can do it. One of the most simple ways that I do it is I wait until I go to sleep or right before I go to sleep. So I'm in bed, lights are off. I start to relax. I focus on my breathing and I start to feel that I'm just about ready to drift off into sleep. And then what I'll do is I might have something that I want to impress on my mind. I might even imagine something. But either way, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll imagine something that I wish to happen right before I go to sleep. And I know that because I've studied this and I've looked at myself in the mirror in the mornings rather. And what happens is a lot of times my last final thought, if it's really close to that theta state, will actually possibly dictate my dreams, not every single night, but oftentimes, and also have an influence on my mood in the morning. When I wake up, it will actually have an effect on how I feel, how I think, and how I act right out of the gate. So also in the morning, I will also imagine that same thought just as I'm waking up. So when I wake up and I start to feel myself waking up, I always tap the brakes and I say, whoa, 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 don't get up. Like, and this is all very much not, there's not a lot of effort put into it now, but I will actually stop and catch myself and say, okay, don't get up, relax, imagine that which we imagined last night, because I'm also in theta at that point. You're in theta when you're going to sleep and you're in theta when you're just coming out, right? So those are a couple tips for you. I hope they resonated with you. And so what I want you to do is write in the comments below one thing that you've done to program your subconscious mind in the past. Let's get a conversation going. I want to hear from you guys. So if you haven't already done it, definitely subscribe. We've got an app coming out that's going to help you kind of get those identity traits programmed into your mind. We got some great things coming our way for you to become a newer version of you, a better version of you, a stronger version of you. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the subscribe, the like, the comment, the follow, the whatever, the swipe. Thank you so much for your time. I truly, truly appreciate it. Have an amazing night, an amazing day.